So this is how we'll be using the function in the models. Okay. Now just think about it. This is how we create and use a model. So just think about it. Let's say you are using some model. So for example, like the data science task or the machine learning task, like the functions or the methods for machine learning are really, really long. If you are going to define your own functions, if you are going to write your own code, like it will take a long time to you, right? So what we'll be doing is, for few things for understanding, like in the beginning, I will have the understanding from scratch, and then I will explain you the theory part, and I will show you the code using the module itself. Okay. So that's how it is. This class is going to be. Okay. So how to use a model that like this module, using this module actually gives you like a hint how can you use the modules, other modules, and before using them you need to install, right? Install means you're simply downloading the packages, modules or packages. For example, NumPy is a package, right? It has multiple modules in this, right? It might also have some sub packages. The random is one of the sub package of a NumPy package. Okay. sklearn is one of the package. Inside it, there are implementation of different machine learning algorithm. One of them, like they are all the module in itself. Okay. So that's these are the nothing but like big packages, and if you want to utilize their code, then we can simply install them and import them. Okay. And the way I'm like importing and using the functionalities, you can go to the official documentation. You can see where it is, in which folder corresponding things reside, and then you can simply import and use them. Okay. Now I hope like you'll be able to understand the architecture, the basic thing, how to import and how to use a basic function. Okay. Going to the next one. The next thing that we are going to, and as I told you, you can not only use it in the notebook, if you want to use in some other .py script itself, so you can also use these into those as well. Okay. So in this example, I told you, right, in my first script itself. Okay. Let's now try to understand the next thing for today's session. That is the yes, what is that? Yeah, errors and exception handling. So we'll be talking about the errors and exception handling in Python. Okay. So let me just create a new notebook for it. Errors and exception handling. So we'll try to understand how can we handle the errors and exception in Python. So before that, let's understand what are the errors, what are the different types of errors that we face, right? So let's say if I'm writing this error, this code, so it says syntax error, right? So let's understand the logic of error actually. How do we get an error? So like the programming language is nothing but a language through which we talk to the computer, right? We write the code and we execute it. So computer will understand and then it will do the corresponding task, whatever we have written, right? If we write wrong code, the computer will not be able to understand that what we are asking to them to do. Okay. And wrong code can be many types. That there can be two situations. One is that you are not able to communicate to the computer, means you don't know the language, right? You don't know how to do it. For example, if you don't know English, you'll be making a lot of mistakes into this, or you will not be able to neither understand nor speak, right? If you don't know any language. So like we talk into, like, let's say English is one of the natural language that we use, not a programming language, but it is also used for the same thing, like communicate the information from one to another. So if you want to communicate to the computer, let's say do this, do that, then we need to do in the corresponding programming language that it supports. Like Python we have installed, so Python it will be able to understand. So if we do mistakes, so this is the syntax error is a kind of a grammatical mistake. So Python tells you to write the code into a specific manner. Like Python has a specific manner of creating a string. You need to, in order to create a string, you need to enclose it, right? If you do not do it, you will get this error. See, you are getting this error here as well, here as well. So the problem is not in the print statement. The problem is in creating the string. The string is not created correctly. That's why you are getting the error. Now understand the error. EOL while scanning the string literal. What does it mean? It means that end of line while scanning the string literal, right? This specifies, this is specific enough for us to understand we have forgot the double quote at the end of the line. Understanding these various types of error will help us to debug our code much faster, right? This type of error and the description is known as the exception. Even if a statement exception is syntactically correct. Now, in this case, you can see this is the syntax error. Now, syntax error will always come if you don't know how to write a code, right? If you don't know how to create a dictionary, if you don't know how to create a list, if you don't know how to write a print statement, how to create a string, right? Then you will how to write an if statement, how to write a else, how to write a for loop or while loop. If you don't know all this, you will have an syntax error. Okay, so these are the different types of syntax error. Always, if you don't know how to write the code the way it is defined into write in Python programming language, if you don't know and if you do the mistake, then you will get the syntax error. But sometime, right? For example, let's say you know how to create a dictionary, right? So in order to create a dictionary, you need to this square bracket, curly bracket, and then you need to write a key, and then you need to write a corresponding value. This is a dictionary. Let's say if I do not write a key, so I have got a value. So I've got a syntax error. So I need to give it a value here, right? So this is a syntax error, right? Now, sometimes error will come without any, syntactical error itself. The way you write the code, it will be fine. But doing that particular thing is not possible. For example, let's say I have a list, 1, 2, 3. Now, in this list, I have 3 elements. And if I, let's say, how do I index it? So this is called indexing. Okay. Now, I have got the 2. Let's say I want to get the third one. So I'll do L(2). What happens? Now, I will do the same way. This is the correct way of doing, right? But I'm putting 3 here. Still, I'm getting here the error. Why am I getting the error? Because this list has only 3 elements and I want to fetch the 4th one. And fetching the 4th one of an element of a list that has only 3 elements is not possible. For example, I'm asking for give me, your third hand. If you don't have your third hand, how will you give it me? So I'm asking for the thing that this list does not have. So that's doing that particular thing is not possible. And that's why I'm getting an error. And this is not a syntax error. You can see it is a different types of error. So now if you classify the error into 2 types, so one will be the syntax error, the error which occurs while writing the wrong code, right? Ignoring the syntax and all, that will be a syntax error, right? The other thing is these types of error. This will call syntactical error. Syntactical error, right? This is the another type of error. Okay. So syntactical error comes into play when your syntax is correct, but doing that particular thing is not possible. Another type of syntactical error is, for example, let's say I want to divide this 1 by 0. So dividing by 0 is not possible, right? So I have got a 0 division error, division by 0. So this is another syntactical error. Okay. Another syntactical error example, let's say I have a dictionary, let's say, and I'm writing a key value pair. Let's say K1, corresponding value is 3, K2, okay, 3, corresponding value is 4. Let's say if I want to if I want to get D of K2, I have got a K error. Why? Because there is no key as K2. K2 is not the key in this dictionary D. That's why we are getting the key error says K2. So these different types of error will come in these scenarios, so if you understand, like if you understand, let's say key error, if you see, just search for key K2, you will not find key K2. That's what the problem is, right? So now these different types of error, you can simply just go and see the exception and you'll be able to understand them, right? That is the syntactical error. Now let's see how can we overcome it, right? How can we understand? So we can use the try and except block. So basic terminology and the syntax of the handling the error in Python is try and except. So you can write the code in the try block that you think can cause an error, right? For example, let's say I think that remember that you cannot handle the syntax error. You cannot handle the syntax error, okay? You can only handle the syntactical error, right? You always have to understand how to write the code, then only you can handle the errors, right? Means if you know how to write the code, you will not be doing the syntax error. You'll be only making the syntactical error, and that is possible to handle. You cannot handle these carefully. Okay, let's see how do we handle these errors itself. So let's use try, and into this try, let's say I'm simply printing this. Print d of, let's say, k1, and then except, and into this, let's print something like part the error. Now, see what happens when you do this. So the code that can cause an error will write into the try block, and how do you have to handle it? We'll write into the except block, right? Handling the code will be written into the except block. So into the try block, I have written the code that can cause an error. So if this code cause the error, right? If this code does not cause the error, it will be like we have just written a single statement like this, right? Now it feels like we have written a single statement. The output of this and this are the same, right? If this code does not cause the error, so this will happen. If this code cause the error, then it will go into the except block and do whatever you have done. So here I have simply printed. So it is printing, right? So it says got an error. It is just printing that got an error. It is not giving or returning the error. Now it is really, really important that giving a message to the user is good, not crashing you and closing your application. If you get the error, your application will crash and close, right? But if you, let's say, you might have got some problem in the application, like something went wrong, like thing, right? So something went wrong is nothing but it's a handled exception. Somebody has handled it, right? If they would have handled it, the application would have been crashed. If something went wrong means they have handled it correctly. So they will just print a message that something went wrong. You can just close your application and try it again with the internet and all those different things. And then it will work fine again. The application will not crash. Okay. So that's the basic try and except. I'll have more examples. For example, let's say I have a list. Now, in this list, I have another value called, let's say, 1000. Now, I want to divide this 1000 by every number in this list. Okay. Then what we can do, I'll use a for loop. So for, let's say, num in L. And then I'll simply print, let's say, for num in L, print x divide by num. Now let's see, till fourth number it is fine. When it came to 0, we have gotten it. Okay. And now when we got there, the worst part about this, the whole thing will stop. Nothing will run when you get there. But you have to handle it. When you handle it, it will not stop the whole thing. Where will we write try and except? I know that when L equal to 0, then you will get the error. I'm asking that where will I write try and except? What code will go under try? The whole for loop or the print statement only? You will write the code in the try that can cause the error. In this case, for loop is not causing the error. This line is causing the error. We just can write try, and yeah, for loop will not go in the try block. Okay. I'll show you what happens if you include the for loop in the try block as well. And then you can just write except. Except, and let's say you can print simple 0. So wherever it is gets divided by, wherever it gets 0, here it is just printing 0. Okay. So this is how you have handled the error. Now think about the other scenario where you will be writing this try and except in the whole thing here. So what happened? After first error, the program stopped. Why? Because the error you got here that propagated through the for loop that had stopped the for loop already. You are not getting the error, but the for loop has been stopped because of the error. But if you use try here, it will be handled here itself within the for loop. So for loop will not have to be stopped. Do you understand these two scenarios? So you have to identify where you have to write the try and except. Okay, once again, let's say you have multiple line by line codes written, right? So now what you can do in this case? So let's say you identify that this line is causing the error. Then in this case, it does not matter if you try, like if you write the whole thing into the try itself, then it will also work in this case. Because they are just linear, sequential one only. Okay. Then in this case, it would also work. Okay. Let's have the understanding of handling a specific type of exception. Okay. If you want to handle a specific type of exception, for example, let's say in this one, let me just write another example. Okay. So let's say here, if I write a for loop, right? For loop. Okay. Yeah. So let's say I have two different statements. Let's say here 0 division error and also let's say key error. Okay. 0 division error and key error. So let's say I have two statements print 9 divided by 0 and also print d of k2, right? So first you are getting 0 division error. If you're not getting 0 division error, you are getting key error, right? So there are two statements that can cause the error, right? There are some scenario where you will not get the error at all, right? Now, let's try to understand if you want to handle both of them, or if you want to handle both of them, then what you can do is we can simply write for try, and then you can have except. And then here you can handle it. Got there. Now let's say if you get the error in any of them, right? Then it will work. Let's say in this case, you will be getting the error in the first print statement. So it has been handled. Now in this case, you will get the error in second statement. So first statement is done, and then second statement, it says got the error, and then it is simply giving you the error message like this, got the error, right? Because of the second statement. Now this try is handling both. But if you want to handle a very specific type of exception, so you can give the name. So this is a key error, right? The second one is the key error. So you can write a name of the error there, right? If you write the name of the error, then it will handle only key error. Oh, sorry, not here actually. In the except. So if you are getting the key error, then this will handle. If you are not getting the key error, if you are getting a different error, let's say zero division error, then it will not handle, right? Understand it? So let's say in this case, you are getting the zero division error and I have given a key error, so it will not handle. Instead of it, if I give zero division error, then it will handle. Similarly, let's say here, if I'm writing, let's say key error T of K2, right? Now, zero division error will not handle the key error. A key error will handle that. Okay, now it will handle, right? So if you want to handle a particular type of exception, then you can you can give the name of the exception over here and it will handle that. Or alternatively, what you can do is you can have multiple exceptions over here, multiple except statement, right? For example, this will handle, let's say here, got key error, got zero division error, right? So in this, I am handling key error. In this, I am handling zero division error. Now, let's say if you are getting key error, then it says got key error. If you are having zero division error, right? Now it is handled by this particular state. Did you understand how can you handle multiple errors, multiple specific errors at a time? There is a finally statement in Python. So finally statement is actually statement that will give you the error. I mean, that will run no matter what happens. So now you can see, as of now, we have understood the try and except blocks, right? So the finally block is for something that you want to do no matter what, right? For example, in this case, what happens? If you get the error, it will run this, otherwise it will run this, right? Any one of this. But finally statement runs no matter what. Finally statement will run no matter what, no matter if you get the error or not, finally will run. Let's have this example here. Let's say, let's remove the zero division error, specific error exception. Now it just got the error. Okay. If I have a finally statement, okay. So now you can see after running this, after except it is running, it is running always runs, right? It is running the finally statement. Now this is the case when you get the error. Now let's have the case when you don't get the error. So now you can see it is running this particular statement, the try statement, and then it is also running finally statement. Now you can see it proves that finally will run no matter what, right? Finally will run if you get the error or not. In both the cases. The specific part of it, let's say you have not handled the exception, and if you get the error, the best part of finally is now you can see it is first running finally and then it is giving the error. So like if you want to do some critical task, then you can write that into finally, even if there is some exception, then first finally will run and then anything else will run, right? First finally will run, the statement in finally will run, and then you will get there. Okay. All right. So this is try finally. All right. And if you do not get the error, let's say, So, I mean, the chronology will be maintained, like first this statement will run and then this statement will run. You do understand the finally statement? How does finally statement works? So that's how you okay. Let's have a example. So if you remember, I had explained about one input function, right? Input function that will take input from the user, right? From user. So if you use input, and let's say you have variable x, so whatever you write here, no matter if it is a string or a number, that will go save into x in the form of string. For example, I write my name. Now x has my name, right? X is a variable holding my name as a string. Now let's say if I write a number, now x has a variable, now hold a number 34 as a string. If you check the type of x is what? Type of x is a string. You can also give a message as well, like for example, please write the name, right? Now here, let's say I'm writing Akash. Now x has the Akash, and it is a string type. Now, if I write, let's say, please write your age, or please enter your age. Now, let's say write 34, and then Akash, and then here you can see type x. The type of x is a string. Okay. So whatever you type, that will always be a number. I mean, that will always be a string. Now, if you want to change this into a number, you have to typecast it into the int data type. Okay, so you can just typecast this into an int. So now, if you're writing your age or anything, so now it is an integer type. Now it is not a string. But the problem is, let's say you write some number, like anything, and with that, if you write some string or something like letter, alphabet, so it will give an error. Now the cause of the error is it is trying to convert this D into a number, but doing that is not possible. Changing that 45D into a number is not possible. That's why you are getting the error. Now, if you want to handle it with the exception, with the try and except block, so this statement you can write into try. Let's say try. And in the try block, you can write this. In the except block, you can simply, let's say, print a message. You did not get your correct age. Now, this if you do, you will get the exception, right? If you do this thing, you'll get the exception that you did not enter the correct age, or let's say number, just a number, correct number. So, but what I want is, I want this to be asked again, right? So I want that until the user does not write the correct answer, it should keep asking that. So what you can do for to achieve that, you can simply use a loop, right? And you know that that loop will not have any specific ending point. It can end in next iteration, like few iteration itself. It can end in 100 iteration itself, or it can even go to 1000 iteration. Like people can also write 1000 times wrong number, but your application should keep asking. You cannot use for loop, right? Because I told you, like, for loop will be used only if you're going to have a countable number of loop. Like the loop is countable, right? So you can use the while loop in that case, right? For loop we cannot use. We can use while loop. Okay, so we can use while, and that too So alternatively, what you can simply use it while true statement, right? While true, and then later on you can check if the type is then and that you can do it. Or even to use it more smartly, you can use break statement over here. Now, if this is correct, if there is no error in this, if there is error from this line itself, the code will go to accept, right? Now, moving to the while true statement, it will execute this try block, right? It will execute this try block. And then once I'm like getting the error from here, it will not execute the break because it got the error. Now going to try, and then it will come to accept and print this. And since this is a while true, it will once again go run the same thing, right? Once again, it will come to the try block and it will ask you to enter again. If you write the correct number, then it will break, right? Understand? Let's say if I write a number, or let's say anything wrong number, it is asking again, right? Here you can write, please try again. Okay. Now here, like if you're writing the incorrect number, it will keep asking that, right? And if you write the correct number, it will stop. 43 is a number. Now it will stop. Okay. Once again, please try again. If you write the correct number, then it will stop that. So this was a prime example, how we can use while, this all these different things just to get a really good understanding of how to develop a code for a particular scenario. Okay. So that's the one of these use cases. So I'll be giving you the assignment regarding this as well. So there will be some scenarios will be given, so you can also code for that as well and also submit the assignment. So that is the all about this errors and exception handling for today itself. Okay. And the next thing that we'll be discussing is the what we are going to do ahead in this course. Now we'll be migrating into our data science and machine learning pipelines. So in this, we have multiple modules. Okay, we have a lot of modules that we have to cover. First, we'll start from NumPy. Okay, so first we'll start from NumPy. And then pandas. We'll have two sessions for pandas, one basic and one advanced. And we'll have once again two sessions of visualization with matplotlib and seaborn. Seaborn. And once again, we'll have basics and advanced version of these as well. Okay. Basics and advanced version of this. And also then we will like visualization is done. And then we'll talk about like the pre-processing, all those different things we'll need. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. And then we'll talk about the sklearn, and then like there are a few things that we'll talk in between. Okay, sklearn module, particularly for machine learning implementation. sklearn, that will be pretty much a fit for ML people, for especially for data science. We'll be talking about the Streamlit. Streamlit will be used for dashboarding and web app creation. Creating web app and deployment. okay, and deployment of the web applications. So these are nothing but these are the things that we'll be discussing. I mean, this might look very little, but yeah, it will take the whole month of this particular month. Okay, so that's what going ahead we have planned our things, right? If you have any question regarding this, so we'll have. And before starting even NumPy, we will have the introduction of like understanding introduction of like ML, AI, data science, like deep learning, machine learning, ML discovered. So all these different things we'll see. Big data, all these different things. What are these technologies? What are the differences between these? How to install Streamlit? That we will see when we will come to the Streamlit session. Okay. So this is all the agenda for our next sessions.